Normally I always call somebody back, if you gave me the right information, talk about the fireworks and culture. I'll send it over back.
Yeah, I can't get my computer to open, but that's okay. Oh, I've got it. All of a sudden, I got it. There's another one. Good morning. Welcome to the Crow Wing County Board meeting. Would you please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first thing on the agenda is open forum. Mary Pappas Ladd. You have 3 minutes. Please state your name and address for the records.
My name is Mary Pappas Ladd. My address is 815 Oak Street, Apartment 1, Brainerd, Minnesota. I want to talk on the 287G agreement. People on both sides of the aisle in Crow Wing County do not agree with the sheriff signing a 287 agreement with ICE. Citizens object for moral, ethical, and humanitarian reasons. They object to immigrants being denied due process rights and families and children being torn apart, creating long-term trauma. Many states have found that local sheriffs lack the authority to sign the agreements without the approval of the County Board of Commissioners. It has been found that politicization is used to adopt anti-immigration policies and personal agendas in politics rather than using necessary law enforcement strategies. Very little transparency was involved in signing this agreement with Crow Wing County. The board was not consulted and did not vote on the issue. Maricopa County in Arizona has paid out $58 million in costs up to 2017, and it is expected to rise to $350 million by mid-2026. Masked enforcement erodes public trust and safety. Our faith in law enforcement has taken a large dip over the years, and aiding ICE will not help it any. 287G agreements create an atmosphere of fear-induced non-cooperation in law-abiding residents and the undocumented. Citizens become less likely to call law enforcement for help because they lose trust in them and do not view them as helpers. People being killed and injured by ICE agents further erodes that trust, and people view local law enforcement as part of the problem when they align themselves with masked enforcers. Investigations show that most people arrested by ICE are guilty of minor infractions or none at all. 60 to 70% of those arrested by ICE have no infractions and are no threat to citizens. Counties are supposed to get paid for housing illegal immigrants in their local jails. However, many counties have not been reimbursed for providing this service. Counties may have had to hire additional personnel to handle the administrative duties and additional duties that the 287G agreement requires. ICE may provide training, but the day-to-day duties fall on the county, which take time away from priorities like investigating crimes and local enforcement duties. Instead, regular sheriff's duties have been diverted to federal immigration business. What is liability for taxpayers when civil rights have been violated and illegals are kept in our jails past their release dates because ICE has not picked them up yet? These kinds of issues are already in litigation in many counties. Counties have already borne the cost of housing and feeding illegals and may never be paid for this.
Minutes are up. Thank you. Next is Mitchell Pontius.
This is my first time. I'm not sure. This is about one of the items on the meeting, so I don't know if I'm supposed to bring up comments at that point.
You bring up comments at that point.
Okay,
This
perfect.
is for stuff that's...
I'll
However-
save you the time then.
However, Madam Chair, I believe Mr. Pontius is referring to item 5.8 on the HRA transfer of some tax forfeited properties.
I
Is that
believe so.
correct? And
Yeah, I believe so.
you may want to hear him now because we will be taking action to amend the agenda to remove that item due to some timing things.
Okay,
Okay.
3 minutes, name and address for the records.
I'll try and keep it brief. I'm just requesting, this is the hearing. I guess if it's not happening this meeting, then probably next meeting for this HRA deal. And I think it would be logical for the policy to be adjusted such that people could, at the meeting or whenever, purchase a lot at the over-the-counter price before the deal is closed and the lots are conveyed to the HRA. So currently, as soon as the HRA gets their deal, if I file an application for several lots, or in this case, 30 lots, with their HRA, then they get put on administrative hold for no more than 6 months. And then, nobody else can buy that, even if they are, like in my scenario, I was ready to go to the county and buy at the over-the-counter price, but now I can't because it's on hold. It was just pulled off the list the day before I was ready to go buy, which, it is what it is, but I think it makes sense, I think, in favor of the state revenue, let's say, for people to still buy at that over-the-counter price, and maybe the time to do it would be before it passes the county board approval for that deal, whether it's 6 lots or 5 lots or 30 lots. I know I've heard of 3 other people who have lots they were ready to build on that were on the over-the-counter list that are now on the hold. I think that sums it up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Doug Kern.
Doug Kern, Crow Wing Township. I just wanted to say thank you to as the chair of Quado, the Crow Wing Association of Townships Officers. I want to say thank you to the commissioners that showed up to our meeting. The other ones I'd like to really thank is Gary Griffith and for Land Services explaining the process of how taxes are applied. It was really informative. It went a little long, but it was worth it. When I look at Clayton Barge explaining the FEMA, that whole what we're doing here locally, I just want to say thank you for you attending and talking to the resolution. And it was so good that Paul Corin actually decided to start putting out videos to his constituents. I thought that was pretty awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was very good. I would like to say too, the resolution that you guys all paid attention to and you listened to us as far as that resolution concerning notifying us when things are going on. We really appreciate that. The other thing I'd like to say is thank you for hiring such good staff and the Sheriff's Department. I am so proud of them for what they're doing, for taking the stand that they stand, protecting us and overseeing things. We talk about liabilities. I knew an officer not too long ago that quit because he was afraid of stopping a car with somebody who was belligerent and colored. And so he said, I can't take this. He said, you never know what you're going to find when you pull a car over. He says, I just can't take this. And he quit. And he went into mental health. But, I appreciate so much the quality staff that you guys have and everything that you guys do here. And thanks to the Sheriff's Department, Eric Klang, for taking his job seriously. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that's all I have for open forum.
Madam Chair.
Yep.
Yeah, I know. Don't look at me. I gotta say something. This whole 287G is just, I'm just shaking inside because I can't believe people. Have you ever heard of Laken Riley? Raped and murdered by an illegal person here in this country? Maybe you should talk to her mom about how you feel about people being here illegally. Have you ever heard of Sheridan Gorman, the 18-year-old girl shot in Chicago just recently? I mean, really? I can't believe it. I just cannot believe this, that people are putting more, are more in favor of people that are here illegally than our citizens and protecting our citizens. I cannot believe it. I'm gonna get Laken Riley's mother's phone number, and I'm going to give it to you so that you can talk to her and you can explain her why you feel the way you do. I just can't believe it. I can't believe it. So I know you looked at me like I shouldn't say anything. I probably shouldn't have, but this is just really just too much for me. That's all. Sorry about that.
You have your 3 minutes. Next thing on the agenda is the review and approval of the April 28th County Board minutes.
Motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Motion by Commissioner Coring, second by Commissioner Lee. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Review and approve the agenda.
Madam Chair, as I mentioned, we would like to remove item number 5.8. This is the application or to withdraw tracts available on the land sale list and transfer to the HRA. There's a little bit of a timing mismatch in this process. We were assuming this had already gone to the HRA board, but it has not yet at this point. So it needs to be reviewed by the HRA board before it becomes before you. So this is a little bit out of whack with the timing. So I would just like to have you remove that item from the agenda today.
Motion to approve with the change.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Motion by Commissioner Coring, second by Commissioner Lee. Is there any discussion on anything else? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Human Resources Labor Agreement.
Madam Chair, we need to approve the consent agenda.
Oh,
We approve the agenda.
okay. Now we are going to approve the consent agenda.
Madam Chair.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Madam Chair, I've got a couple questions.
Okay.
Do you want to get a second?
Get a
or-
second first.
I'll second that
Okay.
with a couple of questions.
Okay.
So for the county engineer, just a couple of just questions, the property acquisition of the future of Theater Road. I just think an explanation of that. I know when that was being tarred, there was some controversy, and just want to know what's happening with that, if you don't mind explaining that.
Sure, I think it'd be helpful to point at the map. Amber, can you bring
Sure.
up the plat? So I think the background really starts, I don't have the years, quite a few years ago, maybe 5 years ago, probably less than that even, when MnDOT was doing some improvements on 371 between Gull Dam Road and Green Gables Road. They were putting in some restricted intersection movements on 371 to improve safety. And that included the development of a frontage road called Theater Road. This is the one that leads from Arkansas 70 up to the old drive-in theater. And at that time, MnDOT did not purchase, they purchased, that Theater Road runs down this way towards, to the south. And at the time, they did not approach this property owner. I believe his name is Mr. Anderson, but I'm not positive. He was the one that developed the large storage unit on the movie theater property, and did not approach them because that Theater Road did not go far enough. into their property, because the entrance to theater is like right here. And for many years, we've been talking about the safety of 371. We just finished up the 371 corridor, and there was an opportunity to connect this frontage road with what is a private property up here now. And can you, Amber, can you flip to the next one? It'd be next plat, next one. This one. If you, this is the frontage road that goes up to Green Gables. And so it's always good to get traffic off of 371 and utilize frontage roads, particularly in that area. And we saw an opportunity to connect the new frontage road that MnDOT built, and this, it's private right now, but it is an opportunity to someday connect them so we can have a frontage road between those two busy roadways. And when Mr. Anderson, again, I believe that's his name, came forward with that plat to do that storage unit, we had approached him to purchase some property so we could eventually do that someday. There is no plan to connect that. It was just an opportunity. We asked him to amend his plat. Banner, can you go back a little bit? When he was developing this plat for the storage units, looking to the future, we had approached him and asked if we could purchase this property for that future connection, because if he had built it utilizing this roadway, we would never be able to make that connection. And so I remember a conversation we had at the time at the board to enter into negotiations with Mr. Anderson to get that done so we could make that connection someday. It's taken a couple of years to get to that negotiation, and we've come to an agreement. And we're just, based on that direction from the board at the time, this resolution just solidifies that we have the authority to actually purchase that property from him.
So, Madam Chair, Tim, this is us working as the town board of unorganized territory, correct? Or
well, it's
yes and no?
Thank you for the question. It's interesting because I think the safety of 371, there's an implication for all of the county, and in the resolution it talks about splitting the cost to purchase this property between the first assessment district, because it will be a first assessment district road someday. But it also, the county has some responsibility in being in the planning of the safety of 371, and so that's our proposal, that we, rather than put it all on the first assessment district, to pay for this property, for the extension, that Crow Wing County as a whole splits it too, because it benefits us all, not just the FAD.
Makes total sense. Thank you. And then just one other question. I know we've talked about this multiple times, but just the service agreement or maintenance services for Ditch 13, can you just explain? I think it seemed like we talked about another ditch recently. I can't remember.
Ditch 10.
Ditch
Ditch 10 in Baxter.
But this is the only one I think that we have a maintenance agreement. Can you just explain just for
Sure.
people's?
The ditch 13 is the only county ditch of 15 that we have that actually has an active assessment where we're collecting revenue from the benefiting property owners. And back, again, my dates escape me, 2017, I believe, that the county board went through the process to officially start collecting that assessment. It was $14,000, 210 something at the time. And the direction was to utilize that money to keep the ditch flowing. There was an option on the table to do some expansion for hundreds of thousands of dollars, but the board direction was to just keep it flowing, because that was the concern of the lake levels, particularly in Lake Edward.
And so, Madam Chair, I think, just correct me if I'm wrong, ditch law in Minnesota is like 100 years old. I don't think it's ever been changed. And so when somebody comes forward with a petition, which they did on Lake Edward, the county board had no option but to assess these people for ditch 13. And I think the petition only had to be, how many people? One person. So, yeah, anyway, just point that out.
So this contract, Commissioner Coring, is to, we hire a contractor to do that. You know, they'll walk the ditch, they'll cut out deadfall, they'll remove beaver dams, any kind of sedimentation that affects
Sure.
the flow of it. And so this is the next 3-year contract to award that to
Okay.
Holmweg Excavating.
Thank you. Madam Chair, thanks for letting me ask a couple questions on the consent agenda.
Madam Chair, Paul, Commissioner Coring brought up an item on this, on the storage one. Stay up here, please, Tim. Now, on that frontage road you're looking at, right, according to this drawing here, it's showing only a 50-foot frontage road. Now, I thought if we're going to be involved in roads, there's 66. Is there, am I missing something there?
No, you're not missing something. Again, this was a negotiation with Mr. Anderson. And at the time, this, without affecting the rest of his plat, I believe that's why we're getting what we can. The rest of it, to get 66 feet, we would work with MnDOT to try to acquire.
Okay.
And plus, it's all MnDOT right of way, so it's not.
The question I have is, do we want to expend county dollars or in this case, unorganized territory dollars on a road that's not 66 feet?
Well, the right-of-way, the total width is 50 feet, but you have to remember this is state highway. So this is actually right-of-way.
I mean, is it our right of way to be able to?
It's MnDOT state right-of-way.
Does that mean we can, if we get to the point where we pave it all the way out to Jones, or if this, what is it, Jones Drive or whatever it is, that is 66 foot, that is platted as 66 foot.
That's correct.
We would want to make that a road going all the way through, correct? And if the person does the plat properly, the person then would ask us to take over that road in the plat, or unorganized territory to take over the road.
Potentially, if they
for
build
plat.
it to our standards.
Somewhere
yes.
down the road. Right now, the way it looks, unless we have 66 feet going to it, I know you say it's MnDOT's right away. Can we get that 6 feet from MnDOT in order to make it a 66-foot road?
Potentially, or utilize their right-of-way as the right-of-way. If you could view it as the right-of-way is 200 feet or something like that. So it is similarly situated as Theater Road is today to the south.
Okay, and Theater Road is part of, we're using part of MnDOT's right-of-way, or MnDOT's allowing us to use
That's
part of
correct.
the
It's
right-of-way to
situated
make
that
that
way.
work, so it would make sense it would continue on that way.
Correct.
Okay, just what is drawn on the map doesn't show that.
But plus, correct, plus, again, where it was on this area of Mr. Anderson's plat, he was needing the area to be able to accomplish what he did. So it was a negotiated, he didn't have to.
Yeah.
He didn't have to do that, and then we'd be stuck with these two dead-end frontage roads, and we would not be able to address safety as much as we could.
Well, and I know on the 371, as I drive it pretty much every day, it is getting busier and busier. So anything we can do to get traffic off of that and get it onto a side street. So, okay, thank you. That's all I had.
Are there any more questions? Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Lebke, a second by Commissioner Coring. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Human Resources Labor Agreement.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Commissioners. I'm going to give Amber a minute here to get the PowerPoint up. But I'm bringing forward today an agreement with LELS Local 13 that represents our 911 telecommunicators, also previously known as our 911 dispatchers. This agreement covers 10 employees, and it comes with our market-aligned pay plan that has our ranges. That's just the min and max of the salary schedule, changing 3% in 2026, 3% in 2027, and 2.75% in 2028, providing the general adjustment and a meeting expectations increase, as well as the opportunity for the advancing Crow Wing County incentive. The 911 telecommunicators are on the county health plans. Some of the key recognitions in the agreement include the Minnesota paid leave and the language to have a 50-50 premium split, ability to use PTO to remain whole, and running concurrent with other leaves such as FMLA, removing our short-term disability plan and providing a voluntary short-term disability plan, and then removing our PTO donation program. We have also agreed to be able to use the full PTO accrual table when hiring. So if we hire somebody with previous dispatch experience, we could start their PTO accrual at a higher rate. Seniority previously in the contract was based on seniority within the department, and this is changing it to seniority based on classification. The healthcare savings plan increased from $35 per month to $40 per month, and that is employee and employer contributions. There's an annual uniform allowance of $720, which will be paid $60 a month throughout the year instead of one lump sum in February. Providing a weekend differential of $1 per hour for hours worked on Saturday and Sundays. Double time when covering holidays. This provides the opportunity to fill holiday shifts more timely versus waiting until the last minute to get them filled. Deferred comp match to align with what we have offered to other groups as well. Since this is the first year of them getting the match, it is $100, up to $100 match a month in 2026, and then $50 per month for 27 and 28. And then as with any contract, we continue to clean up some language and provide more clarification on language as well. And they did agree to a 3-year contract. And on the next slide, in addition to the market-aligned pay plan, we did also offer an adjustment of $1,000 on January of 2026 and $1,000 on January of 2027. This is a group, they did have a bunch of turnover just in the last 3 years, so to provide and hope for a little bit more retention and stability within the group, this additional $1,000 was offered for those 2 years. And if there aren't any questions, I'm just looking for a motion to authorize entering into a labor agreement between Crow Wing County and Law Enforcement Labor Services, Local 13, representing the 911 telecommunicators, effective January 1st, 2026 through December 31st, 2028, and the chair, HR manager, and county administrator are authorized to sign said agreement.
I will make that motion.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Lee, second by Commissioner Coring. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, commissioners.
Land Services.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners. What we have before you today is a proposed TIF district number 16. This is a housing district located in the city of Baxter at the corner of Lake Forest Road and Novotny Road. This is consisting of one parcel. The district is being created to facilitate the construction of 80-unit mixed income senior housing apartment, with the construction expected to begin this summer. The full TIF plan is enclosed today for your review, and a public hearing is scheduled for a 7 p.m. June 2nd at the Baxter City Hall. Would you jump to page 96, please? We just wanted to give you a little bit of information regarding what tax increment financing, or TIF, is today. Tax increment financing is a financing tool used to capture and use property tax revenues from new development to finance qualifying costs. TIF is highly governed by complex statutes, and that does limit the uses of the TIF money for things such as demolition of structurally substandard buildings, utilities, road improvements, or the acquisition of land and buildings. TIF does not require county or school approval. TIF is also not a tax break. It is, the property owners do pay their full tax bill every year. How tax increment works is when the TIF is certified to the county, the base value or the original net tax capacity is established at that point. As development occurs, that new value is captured, and then that new captured value is, or tax capacity, is multiplied by the tax rate to get your tax increment. The tax increments go to the TIF authority, in this case, the City of Baxter. And then the tax on the base value goes to your normal local taxing authorities. As far as the county board's role, you receive notification at least 30 days before the public hearing. You have a chance to review the TIF plan prior to that public hearing. You have the opportunity to submit comment to the proposal to the authority. The county board cannot deny the TIF district, only those local jurisdictions can do that. Also, if county roads are impacted, you may require the authority to help pay the cost of road improvements from the tax increment. In Crow Wing County, we have a total of 20 TIF districts totaling 51 parcels. Currently, those are located in the City of Baxter, City of Brainerd, Breezy Point, Crosby, Nisswa, and Pequot Lakes. Are there any questions?
Madam Chair, so can you just give me an example? I mean, we haven't done anything like this for a long time, and so I guess I'm just trying to refresh my memory of like an example of, not only for me, but the people that listen to these meetings. I think it'd be probably a good idea.
Madam Chair, this is part of why I asked Michelle and Melanie to give you a little bit of a broader update, because we have not been asked to comment on a TIF district in a number of years. This is the first one, I think, that has come before us since Commissioner Lubke was on the board, and Commissioner Lee hasn't had an opportunity to see one yet either. So just to kind of give you a little bit of an update around what TIF is, as well as what's the county's role in it. Can you talk a little bit about the one that's in front of you, maybe is what we can talk about. This is a housing project that is being proposed to be built, and the developer is approaching the City of Baxter to ask for this tool, if you will, this development tool to assist in what that process is. Can you talk a little bit further about that, Michelle? Or maybe some examples of other TIF districts that we have in the county?
Yep, so some of the other TIF districts that we have in the county, the City of Baxter's has the most. Most of theirs are housing, so the Arbor Glen and the Arbor Glen Senior Apartments by the movie theater is one of those. And what they're trying to, a lot of times what the TIF plans are trying to do is provide lower income housing. Some of their requirements are to ensure that there's mixed income.
Madam Chair, just maybe this will help. So how does this, a TIF district, how does that help the developer? What benefit do they have by this being a TIF district?
So how this helps the developers, typically they're doing a pay-as-you-go loan from the city. So the city is helping to, with these tax increments, is helping to fund this development. Which helps them to bring that developer in and create the additional development over there and offer this housing unit. Without it, there has to be a but-for in the plan, where basically what they're stating is, if without the TIF increments to help fund this, but for the TIF, this development would not happen.
So, Madam Chair, it is a way for, as Michelle was saying, with a pay-as-you-go model, which is what we see most of the TIF districts in our area referencing. Every year, a portion of this increment is captured. So if you think of what the value of a piece of bare land would be compared to the value of that same land once a building is constructed on it, that gap, or whatever that difference is, helps to generate some of the incentive that that business can pay back to the city of Brainerd, or the city of Baxter in this particular instance. So the business is getting the agreement from the city council to allow them to pay over time to be able to afford to build this facility, which will allow them to more quickly construct it. And it's a financing tool that instead of having to go to perhaps a bank and get a loan to pay off whatever that amount would be, they're agreeing to pay the city what that portion amount would be over a course of years. Oftentimes, it deals with some of the infrastructure things as far as what it would cost to put in sewer and water in many cases. It also just helps to allow them to redevelop in some cases. If you don't see it for housing, you're also seeing it to correct blight or to redevelop economically depressed areas to help to spur new business building growth in that way. Does that help? Confuse it more?
Kind of confuses it more.
Kind of confuses it more?
I just want, that, how does it have any negative effect on all the other people that are paying their property taxes and they're not getting any TIF district? How does it affect them? Can you?
So, Commissioner Coring, essentially for the length of the TIF district, any tax on that new value, so that new construction value, is going directly to the TIF district and not to those taxing authorities. So that new construction, unfortunately, is not potentially reducing the local tax rate for that area.
Economic development districts are usually 8 years in duration. If they're doing it from a business standpoint, from an economic development standpoint, it's an 8-year duration of what that TIF plan usually can be. Housing projects are 20 years, so there's a little bit longer time frame of what's involved there. Typically, when a municipality establishes a district, a TIF district, there may be multiple projects that could occur within that district, and each project would be dependent on how much increment is captured by that particular district or by that particular project. The city is essentially agreeing to shift whatever captured tax would happen over that 8 or 20-year period. And what TIF really comes down to, what it boils down to, is a tax shift. It boils down to this growth is happening. The growth is happening. We are spurring economic development, if you will. We are spurring growth, but you're not going to realize the full potential of that for the full duration of what that TIF timeframe is, because everybody else is helping to offset what that is. It just shifts the tax burden a little bit over that duration.
Madam Chair, I would assume that they look at it like if this is for elderly people or low-income people, this is kind of where it's more geared,
Absolutely.
I would think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Usually you're going to see a housing district, like Michelle said, it's going to be something that is, without being able to do that, the cost of construction would be higher, the cost of the rents would be higher. This is a way to help allow for some of that more affordable senior housing, other areas of what would be able to be developed in those areas.
I got it. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I was familiar with the TIF district as I served as mayor in Jenkins, and we had 3 TIF districts. None of them were housing. They were all for economic development. And it was, as the city, when we sat there as a city, looked at it and looked at that but-for agreement. That but-for agreement was very important. But without this, it wouldn't be built in Jenkins. And when you look at long range down the road, we were going to, if you want to say that, give up that increased value for so many years. But after that TIF district was done, that value went right back on then to the tax rolls of the city. And in the three of them that we had, one actually defaulted. One actually didn't complete it, and that developer's agreement and everything went away, and that property went right up to market value right away. So if they don't do their job, if they don't meet the but-for agreement, that TIF goes away. But in the cases where we did it, it was the only way in the city of Jenkins we could see getting any development in our industrial park was by offering, or the person asking for, and us getting involved in the TIF. We understand the fact that the county doesn't get its full share, the school doesn't get its full share until that district is done. But after it's done, it's business as normal. So it was a great tool. It was about the only tool we really had in Jenkins. We didn't have anything else to offer as far as water, sewer, road, or anything like that. So it worked out very well for our city. So thank you. I don't know if that helps at all, but more in the economic development than the housing. So.
And Madam Chair, as was mentioned, the county does not have any say yea or nay. Essentially, you are afforded the opportunity to provide comment on the project that is being proposed. So the action that you're asking for is what, Michelle?
So the standard action in the past has been to waive the 30-day review period and provide no comment. However, note our concerns about the potential impact on the individual taxpayers in that area.
And Madam Chair, that particular portion of the comment was added courtesy of Commissioner Dewey Touches at the time, who we had several TIF projects in front of us over a course of a few years. And while our standard action previously was to waive the 30-day comment period and have no comment, he did want to make it known, and the board agreed, the full board wanted to make it known, that TIF does shift. It is a tax shift, and it does have implications. So while there's nothing that is required of you to make that statement, it is just something to continue to bring it to light when that happens.
Madam Chair, I got a question. Did I understand it correctly that there is some economic impact to the county as far as roads, what you stated?
If the development would affect a county road, meaning that there would be potentially a lot more traffic on that road, and there was no plan to repair it, I believe, within the next 5 years, you commissioners could request that improvements to that county road be paid out of tax increment.
Okay.
And that is not the case in this particular one. There's no county roads impacted.
Okay.
Any more questions? Do we have a motion to provide no comment?
I'd make the motion to forego the 30-day, what did you call it, the 30-day
Review.
Period.
review, and to offer no comment.
Do we have a second? Do we have a second?
I've got a question before, if you want a second, I'll give you the second, but I've got a question before we go any farther. This June 2nd is when the city of Baxter has their hearing on it, correct?
Correct.
And this, if we waive this 30-day, that's waiving residents' option to come and speak with us, correct?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Lee, there's no option for residents to come to speak to you about this.
Okay.
The county board has no authority to hold a public hearing or to take public input or to do anything other than provide comment to the city of Baxter.
So all we're doing then would be waiving the 30 so that they can.
So that they can hold their public hearing on June 2nd.
Okay.
Telling them that we're concerned about the impact on individual taxpayers.
Correct.
Yeah, and that was why I asked the question, because I'm sure there's going to be input that's needed on this, so. You have my second.
Okay. We have a motion by Commissioner Lubke, second by Commissioner Lee. Any more discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Unorganized territory.
Good morning again. I have 2 items for you. It's the award of 2 contracts. We'll start with the First Assessment District first. Over the last, I think it's 7 years or so, we have contracted for maintenance in the First Assessment District. And this was a shift from when the county did it with its own forces. And back then, it was discovered that we could actually increase the level of service not only for the First Assessment District, but also for the county as we divide the responsibilities. Think about the county going to the county roads first and a contractor going to the FAD road first, rather than the FAD roads getting done at the end of our shift when we're plowing our county roads. And so that's the beginning of these both contracts that are before you. First Assessment District contract for 2023 through 2026 is expiring, and this is not a renewal of that contract, but rebidding it. We revised the bidding documents and really inserted a lot of the things that we learned over the last few years working with the contractor, and we put it out for bids and opened the bids. I forget, I don't have the date on here. We opened the bids recently, and we had one bidder. It was Holmvig Excavating for the First Assessment District, and it's for a 3-year contract between 2026, the remainder of this year, and through June 30th, 2029. And like I said, it was the only bidder, and we're looking for authorization to enter into contract with Holmvig Excavating for the period of 2026 through 2029. There is a bid summary in your packet. The thing to note about this is that this number is used for bidding only. This is not a guaranteed amount. It's not a construction contract. It's as needed. One of the things that we entered into this contract is a lot of authority by the maintenance manager to direct the work of the contractor. So we can, they're only out there working when we ask them to, snow plowing even to some degree. We're helping call them out and things like that. The bidding process really just established the bid prices, the per hour, the per ton, the per square yard prices. And there's no maximum or minimums in the contract because we want to go and provide the services when we need them for the public. And so the number you see on the bid sheet was just the number that we felt that through our research and our data that we've gathered over the years with his contracts, what those hourly, how many hours or how many of those unit prices would be each year. And so we use that to establish how we would award the bid. We had an engineer's estimate and engineer and quantities, and the contractor submitted their bids for those quantities, and we matched it up against our engineer's estimate, and that's the two numbers that you see on the back. This is not, we're not awarding necessarily a contract for $959,959. It actually could be much lower than that. It's just the combination of those bid prices in our engineer's estimate compared to the contractor's bid.
Madam Chair, may I ask a question? So Tim, the couple of questions. When this bid, 959, so let's say throughout this contract, Holmvig, there's like the worst 3 winters ever in a row, and he's using a lot of sand and salt and everything else. Does he have to pay for all that inside the contract, or is that over and above? Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, obviously if it's a mild winter, I mean, his trucks aren't going to be out as much, or not using as much material. Am I making sense with that?
Yes, so there is a line item in the contract for the sand that he uses, and so he only charges us for the amount of sand that he uses. So if it's a late winter, he will charge us less at that bid price. Conversely, if it's a very heavy winter, he'll charge more units, not the unit price won't change.
Sure.
And so it allows us to only get charged for the services that he provides, and we're locking in that bid price that he or the contractor has provided us through this bidding process.
And then, Madam Chair, just a curiosity question. So I know that when we're bidding roads or bidding this, there's always an engineer's estimate. When somebody's bidding this, or Anderson's Brothers is bidding something, do they know what the engineer's estimate is? We don't let them know. Okay.
No, it increases competition. We will tell them, obviously it's published right here, but we don't publish that prior to give anybody unfair advantage.
Right.
We've had contracts that had come in under our engineer's estimate at 600,000.
Right.
And if the contractors knew that, they would be bid right around the engineer's estimate.
Right.
Everybody down there. It increases their, I say, how they sharpen their pencil.
Yeah.
We will tell them afterwards, but up front, we don't want to let them know.
So then, Madam Chair, just another question. How would you estimate that this is working from the way we did it before, where, you know, the county highway department guys and gals would get all the county roads done, and then they would move on to unorganized territory. And then, of course, unorganized territory taxpayers would have to reimburse the county for that services. How do you think this is working? Is it working better? Are they getting served quicker? Do you think it's saving us money?
As I mentioned before, Commissioner Coring, is that I believe it's creating a better level of service. Now, there's different opinions about that from the folks that live in the First Assessment District. There's just something people feel they see a county truck out there with the Crow Wing County on the side. And one of the things we discovered back in 2017 or so when we started that is that we were diverting from the county road system to take care of these roads. So County Road 3 would not be plowed as soon as it could be, but a First Assessment District dead-end road would get it done first. And that didn't seem right at the time. It doesn't sound like we should be taken away from their county road system. And so the solution was to have the county focus on our own. Our trucks go on the county roads, and this contractor goes to that road much sooner. Ideally, they would have been being hit at the end of the day, but it didn't always work out that way for convenience. So I believe it's created a better level of service. When we go out at 2 a.m., this contractor sometimes goes out at 2 a.m. too, and sometimes maybe an hour later. And we can get there, or they can get there a lot faster. Now that road system, that 60 miles gets done sooner.
Madam Chair, I would move to award the contract for 2026-2029 for the First Assessment District Roadway Maintenance Services contract number 183000064.
I will second it after I ask a question or two. Tim, I somehow managed to lock myself out of my computer until this morning, so is there any major changes over last year? Any big surprises or anything that vastly different given fuel prices and?
No, Commissioner Lee, the only changes that we had to the previous contract is that we've cleaned up some of the language. To be more specific, we introduced liquidated damages if they don't meet specific timelines. So it was very overt, spelled it out. We provided an opportunity to provide a bid for each of the 4 contract periods, the remainder of this year, 27, 20, and 29, and provided an opportunity to increase their bid instead of locking it in today and then the contractor having to deal with fuel increases and that stuff. We provided that opportunity, and this particular contractor did not take that opportunity. So the bid price we're going to pay for the remainder of this year for mowing, for example, is the same bid price that we're going to be charged in 2029, which we provided the opportunity, they just didn't take it. They had an opportunity to increase by 3 to 5%, but they did not take that. So that's how they deal with the fuel. To be able, they had the opportunity, but they didn't do it for some reason.
Okay. Thank you.
Madam Chair, another question. So on some of the first assessment districts, I know we're talking about dust control. Is that at all involving HomeVig at all, or in the dust control? Or is that a separate contract with somebody else?
Commissioner Lupke, that is a separate contract, and that already has been let, and we're getting really close to that first
But in those cases, a lot of time before the dust control, they want that road, brought up to and crowned and really nice, and so the dust control does a better job than just putting it over a bunch of rock. So, does this also include any roads that you're looking at graveling at all in the first assessment district from HomeVig? Does he supply the gravel he provides? That's all laid out in your documents, and I know the way you do documents, Tim. I'm sure it's laid out in the documents. So, I'm just asking that question.
To your first question, this is the contractor that would shape up the road prior to the application of dust control. And there are line items in the contract for graveling, both supplying, shaping, and then simply just blading. This is the contractor that will do that. And there are 15 line items. We tried to be specific. We really wanted to increase our ability to analyze what this costs, what this costs the residents of the FAD every year. So we kind of broke it down into stuff that's easier to analyze. What's costing us more, graveling or snow plowing or mowing or those things.
And with everything you have in there, that's what your engineer's estimate is what you think all of that in there would be, all in. And
That's correct.
Okay.
In a typical year, obviously there's going to be ebbs and flows. We have locked in the bid price. That's the most important thing.
You've locked, yep.
And
Per unit.
per unit. There could be more quantity one year and less the next year.
Thank you. That's all I had.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Coring, second by Commissioner Lee. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Madam Chair, I would so move to award the contract for the 2026 to 2029 Second Assessment District Roadway Maintenance Contract 18400-007.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Coring, second by Commissioner Lee. Any discussion on this one? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
County Sheriff.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Commissioners, distinguished guests. It's good to be before you today. You'll be seeing some stuff come out in the paper today. I am running for second term as your sheriff. I'm looking forward to that. I also realize as the Chief Law Enforcement Officer of the county that not every decision that I make is everybody's going to be pleased with. But I want you to know that every decision that I do make is definitely in the best interest of Crow Wing County. And those decisions are sometimes, not everybody is exactly pleased with them, but we've done some really good things over the past 3 years, going on the 4 years, and I just wanted to highlight a couple of those things with you. You know, one of the things that we've been working on is our records management system. We've had a long time with our current records management system. Our LETG is what it was called. Typical software program lasts about 7 years typically. This one's been going on for 20 years. So it's definitely time. It's overdue that we look at this new records management system. Things are going as scheduled and as planned, and definitely excited about that. The other thing I wanted to mention was that we've really worked hard at building relationships with our local and state law enforcement partners, and they had been strained kind of in the past, so we have definitely done a good part in building those relationships back. And again, that's what it's all about, is relationships. We've opened up the office to all law enforcement so they can come in at any time into our facility and feel welcomed, and we're very thankful for that. We're thankful for our city partners out there. because we really do want to work together at trying to, make our community as safe as we can. And another thing, I talked to Dr. Timothy Houle when he was leaving on his way out, and I told him that one of the things that I'd really be working and pushing really hard on is the pay for performance. And that is one of the things that we together have worked on, and we did get rid of that, and I'm very pleased about that, and so obviously is my staff. Another thing we did is we've cleaned up the policy book. We had policies to go to the lunchroom, for crying out loud. So there was a lot of unnecessary policies that were kind of just, making this book heavier and heavier. So we've cleaned that up. We added an additional canine unit to help augment the canine units that we have in Crow Wing County, and it's been a very helpful in tracking and locating narcotics and also people as well. We have a mental health deputy that we've instituted into our ranks to help us navigate those mental health calls that we go on a regular basis. And that program itself has been very successful as well. It's kind of tampered down a little bit, doesn't look like a fully marked squad, doesn't have a fully marked uniform on, so it's been really helpful with that. We've also done the embedded social worker in our office as well, and that's been a really big help to help us navigate, make sure that we get the right resources to this person that's in crisis. And generally, if we can catch them early enough, we have less time that we'll have to deal with them on the back end. Usually it takes this goes on and on and on before we can actually get the help that they need. And this embedded social worker, along with our mental health deputy, has sped that up. So pretty great stuff going on over there. We created our own medical unit over in the jail, something that we didn't think that was going to be possible. After we had lost one of the health providers for our jail, we got a really good thing going on right now. People from all over the state are coming to us and asking us how we do this and how does this thing work, and they're trying to figure out their own way as well. We've also robusted our chaplain program, and it's all part of our health and wellness for our deputies. We have spiritual health, mental health, physical health, and financial health. And if you can think about those four things, if you had all four of those things going great in your life, what a great spouse you would be, what a great employee you would be, what a great friend you would be. So we're excited that we're constantly building on that. We're giving them the tools that they need to get those four things in line with their life. So that's been some really good stuff. We've also been very forward thinking in the jail as far as safety goes. We've looked at different ways that we can not only protect our employees, but also protect the inmates. We're doing a health monitoring system where we can see their breathing rate in there, if you will, and we can see if there's something that goes awry quite immediately. So we're always looking at ways that we can do better in the jail, because we know that being in jail is, obviously a tough thing. And of course, people die in jail too. So we want to try to prevent that completely. So another thing that we started was employee recognition, a monthly employee recognition day. And we gave out these little cards to everybody. They're all around the office, and people fill them out, and they say, hey, thanks a lot for a good job. It just might be something simple like that, or thanks for covering for me. And then we do that recognition every month, and it's amazing the number of people that show up at that in our EOC and that come to that, and we applaud them and thank them for the good work that they do. And we have a lot of people with our staff that do great work, as you can see of the folks behind me. I'll mention quickly that Chief Deputy Andy Bradley has been great as a chief deputy. It's also his birthday today, so a shout out to him. And then our jail staff over there, Troy and Miranda and Bo. Bo is our program guy, takes care of all the programming that we offer to our inmates in there and does a fantastic job. There's over 100 volunteers that we have coming into that jail. So it's quite a process for him to line all that stuff up. But it's also part of our mission and vision and our mantra at the Sheriff's Office. We want to provide the best service through leadership, visibility, and preparation. And part of that leadership is every one of us, in whether you're a support staff or you're working the road or you're in leadership position, every one of us is a leader on every call, every phone call, every contact that we have with people. In our visibility, we want to be visible in the community as well. So be visible on the streets. That's why people are constantly saying, man, I see you guys all over the place. But we're also involved in the community in the chamber events and other events where people are gathering, and we want to be part of the community. We want them to see us. We want them to know us. We want them to know Troy, our jail administrator. So those guys have been also being very active in there as well in our community. Just a couple more things to note. I had a whole ton of them, and we were just sitting down this morning. I was just typing out a few of them, and there's obviously quite a few of things that we have done. And another thing is increased social media. We've really trying to be as transparent as we can, and we've, some people don't like all that transparency on the social media part, but I think people are very interested in law enforcement and what we do, and the good work that we do should be highlighted to our community members as well. So also with that, we've also did a robust increase in the number of security staff that we have over in the court administration, and hopefully we have a very good program with our staff over there that are providing the security and campus security as well. So you'll see them walking around the campus, and they're doing a great job. But so with all that said, I think we're always looking to improve what we do. We don't want to get back on our laurels. We want to be continuing looking how we can do a better job, provide better service, and be something that the citizens would be proud of at the Crow Wing County Sheriff's Office. With that, I would certainly take any questions or concerns, compliments.
Madam Chair. So a comment and then a question. My comment is, to me, not only in law enforcement, your brethren, the Baxter Police, the Brainerd Police, the State Patrol, those are your brothers. Amen. And sisters in law enforcement, and you have to support your, and what made me, as I was sitting here, I was thinking about when I was a state senator. I was up at a funeral up by Duluth. I was up there and I got a call and they said, the county board in Morrison County is being held hostage. Now, I would bet you that Little Falls and every surrounding agency was there to support their brothers.
That's right.
And so that's what it's all about. And it's the same thing with this county board. We're working with our state officials. We're talking with Congressman Stauber, Amy Klobuchar. Doesn't matter what part. Our job is to get the job done for our constituents. That's right. And I think that's what you're doing. And I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
And then I will say that this points out, I can remember when you guys came to us, the county board, to authorize paying for the flock cameras. And I was kind of hesitant at that time, and Andy explained, all he had to do was give me one story about a lady from Detroit Lakes that had dementia, and her husband came back home and their car was gone and didn't know where she was. And they eventually found her because of these cameras.
Yep.
And so I have an email from one of my great constituents down in southern Crow Wing County, which I think all my constituents are the best in the whole world. Paul, if the sheriff is at the meeting tomorrow, could you please ask for an update on the investigation and the shooting that was out this way? County Road 2, Roosevelt Township, is only 2 or 3 miles away from my house. I'm really concerned about what's happening. I don't know if you can give an update.
Yeah, well, we've had a couple of shootings. Obviously, they're still under investigation, and we're working to wrap those up. But I will say that one of the flock cameras was instrumental in us identifying a person of interest. So without that camera, without that flock camera, we would have been kind of at a stalemate. I think we would have been working on other things, but that one brought it to the forefront very quickly. I don't want to give away all our secrets, but
No.
but that's been.
Well, I appreciate it very much, and this is people that are concerned, that you and I are representing, and they're asking for answers, so.
Yep.
Thanks for what you can tell.
Yeah, and again, it's not just me that's leading your sheriff's office, but it's these fine folks that are behind me that are helping to bring the level of service that you guys are receiving, so.
And then one other thing, there was another thing that I know I've asked Andy a couple of times, and I think it's still under investigation about some drug stuff that was happening out down in our area, and I don't think you guys can comment it on yet, but when it is completed, I think my constituents, because they keep asking me about it. And,
I will tell that story.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Madam Chair? Sheriff, I just want to say thank you for the job that you and your staff do. Obviously, the two of you back there and I have worked together years ago, and I know what you guys are going through. You're the hero to the victims, and you're the most hated person to the suspect, and you can't please everybody every time, and that's hard for a lot of people to understand, and I'm just very appreciative of the work you guys are doing, and glad you do it, so thank you.
County Attorney.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners. I don't have anything for you this morning, but I'd be happy to answer any questions you have of me.
Madam Chair, and this is to Debbie, would this be the appropriate time? And also in my email.
Yeah, you could ask that
Okay.
question now.
So, and also in the email that I received is also if Kara, our Community Services Director, she's not here, is there an update on the assisted living business that the state closed up? And have we been paid the bill for what county staff has done?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Coring, I did check this morning. As of today, we have not received payment on that amount as of yet. We had invoiced them for $42,550, which was the cost of our staff providing the services to that facility during that crisis timeframe. We did resend the invoice to them back on April 17th. The county attorney and I had had some conversation around that at that point in time. I don't think I won't speak for her, but I don't know that she's super confident we will receive payment in that regard. But we did send that invoice again by certified mail. I did check with our staff this morning, and we've not received back the signed, what do you want to call it, the certified mail card that refers or shows that they did receive that invoice. So we have not received that back yet either, but the payment has not been made on that account yet at this point. As far as I am aware, and according to our staff, there's been no change in the status of that facility. It is not currently open. I do believe that they had appealed the revocation of their license and did come to a settlement agreement with the state of Minnesota, but that there were some stipulations and restrictions placed around if they were going to reopen the Brainerd facility. And as of now, we've not heard of anything that would indicate that that is happening anytime in the future.
Well, Madam Chair,
I'm sorry.
Madam Chair, I think that we should be pursuing something when this company was not treating people right, and we had to step in. And I'm really, you know, if Steve was here, if Commissioner Barrows was here, he would be furious because the state of Minnesota was not doing their job. And Crow Wing County had to step in and protect these people. And so I think the taxpayers shouldn't be footing the bill for what we had to do over there. So I think we should pursue that, letting you know that.
It's still under investigation at this point, and our office is talking with the attorney that's working with that facility. So we're working through it, and we're pursuing that money as much as we can, and at this point, it remains under investigation.
Thank you.
And Madam Chair, Commissioner Coring, Kara is online, so if she has anything to add to that as well, she may have more information.
The only thing I would add is that we
Volume.
have asked the state.
Go ahead, Kara.
Okay, we've asked the state to keep us informed if they hear of that facility selling or of the of the company reopening that facility. We've asked them to let us know right away so we can notify you and the constituents of the county.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, County Administrator.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, a couple things for you today. First of all, we had a senior management team meeting yesterday. However, it wasn't one of our regular type of meetings. Rather, we participated in a countywide review of our COOP plan, our continuity of operations plan. Our emergency management director, Clayton Barg, and his team, as well as our consultants who have been helping us with this particular plan, were present. We reviewed the things that might trigger a county-wide plan. We also reviewed the fact that each of our departments has a department-specific plan. So if something were to occur within a particular department area, what would we need to do to make sure that we can continue to serve the public in the way that we need to do so? We are kind of getting to the last stage of that final refinement. We did talk about a couple of scenarios yesterday, and we'll have a final product available for your review coming up in, I would guess, within the next couple of months as well around that. One other item that I have for you, we did receive notice last week from our landfill consultant engineers that there was a bill introduced in the Senate the middle of April, I believe, for Senate File 5166, which would establish a working group on reviewing the opportunity to end land disposal of mixed municipal solid waste, effectively banning landfills in the state of Minnesota for the most part. That would be effective as of 2040. Obviously, this would have some impact in our area. The bill was introduced and referred to the Environment, Climate, and Legacy Committee, but it's not had a hearing there yet. There was no House companion bill at this point, and it only has one author so far. Given the fact that this is the last week of session and it hasn't moved anywhere in the process, I really don't believe that it will be brought forward any further this year. But I did want to bring it to your attention just in case you wanted to weigh in with our legislators on this particular topic, since it wasn't in front of us when we met with them prior to the legislative session beginning. So just bringing it forward for your information, or if you wanted to direct us to send any kind of notice to our local legislators with regard to this proposal.
Madam Chair, question. Did they have any suggestions on what we're supposed to do with our refuse?
The bill did not include any requirement that would recommend any changes of how we would dispose of any of that materials.
Okay, so I'm assuming they probably aren't aware that the ocean isn't an option anymore?
Probably not in...
This is absurd, absolutely absurd. I can't imagine anybody would produce something, produce something like that, but I would be in favor of us drafting a letter to them. I would make that motion.
I would second that motion. I guess it'd probably be a good idea to, Madam Chair, be a good idea to inform them. There are a lot of, you know, as I said, I served in the legislature. There's some different people, to try to be polite, different people that get elected there, and they have some crazy ideas that are not thought out at all. And this obviously is not thought out at all. I don't know how, I don't know, the citizens of Crow Wing County, I don't know how, if they realize how lucky they are to have a landfill here. If we didn't have a landfill here, your garbage bills, I would assume, probably be double, because there'd have to be a transfer station, and that solid waste would have to be taken somewhere. Elk River, it would have to be trucked somewhere. It would cost more money. And so, you know, we've got a beautiful recycling facility where people can bring their mattresses, their TVs, their electronics. It's a one-stop shop. I mean, this is a good benefit to the citizens of Crow Wing County to have our own landfill.
Madam Chair, I sit on the, AMC has a Environmental Natural Resources Committee, and we also have a subgroup that kind of spun off of that to discuss solid waste in Minnesota. It's co-chaired by a commissioner down in the metro area, and it's also co-chaired by a commissioner up in Itasca County. I think this proposal that is being put out there for whatever those people do down there at the legislature, and that's a good guess, would be laughable in Minnesota. I can't remember if there's about 8 counties, I think, that still do like we do with the leachate and everything like that. And we have our own problems with leachate. They also have a problem with the counties that have pooled together to burn the garbage. And they're also sitting with their situations down in the city with the HERC, where there's a lot of people that are against the burning of the garbage down there. So I don't know what this legislator is doing by putting out something like this, but I don't know if it's been filed or if they don't have anybody on the other side even looking at it. It's almost a non-issue, and you would know that too, Paul. I mean, is it just somebody reaching out? I mean, is it even, if it's almost laughable enough to wonder, should we even respond to it?
A lot of crazy ideas. I don't know what they're thinking. I really don't understand it. I don't understand from when I grew up in the 80s and to the way the world is now. I guess I just don't fathom what people are thinking. It's just, the world seems like it's upside down to me.
My opinion would be not even to send a letter back, but I'll go by the will of the board, because I think it's almost laughable to send a letter down.
Well,
that's just my opinion, but I'll go by the will of the council, by the board.
Well, do we have any more discussion? We do have a motion and a second to send a letter. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I opposed it.
Madam Chair, that's all I have for you today, but happy to answer any questions you may have of me.
Any additional business? Hearing none, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Coring, second by Commissioner Lubke. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion